Gigabash isn't just another fighting game, it's kaiju chaos at its finest. Look, here's Godzilla battling a sentient building, but it's not just mindless destruction. Gigabash brings strategy to the chaos, from mastering special abilities to dodging environmental hazards. Every match is an explosive mix of skill and mayhem, and it all builds up to transforming into a colossal city-leveling titan. Beyond the battles, this game celebrates the love of kaiju culture, but does it have enough depth to seal the deal as the kaiju king? I'm Joe, an ex-gaming industry pro, and today we're looking at Gigabash, a multiplayer kaiju brawler that promises epic battles and pure chaos. Developed by Passion Republic Games, Gigabash launched in 2022, blending monster brawling with arena fighting and party game chaos. You choose from a roster of kaiju and larger-than-life heroes, battling it out in destructible environments while wreaking havoc with massive special moves. But Gigabash isn't just about punching and smashing, it brings clever mechanics, a wide variety of playstyles, and a nostalgic love letter to classic kaiju movies and games. Honestly, some of the love they're showing kaiju culture in this game is so admirable, but we'll get into it deeper later on. At its core, Gigabash is a multiplayer brawler. You pick a kaiju or hero, each with unique abilities, and duke it out across destructible maps. The controls are simple. You've got basic attacks, special moves, grabs, and an ultimate transformation where you go full Pacific Rim. Gigabash isn't short on modes either. You've got a 4-player free-for-all, mini-games and arcade mode, and a single-player campaign that gives characters their own mini-story. There's also a survival mode, and of course online play for testing your skills against the world. When I first booted up Gigabash, I was immediately hit with nostalgia. It's like someone blended Rampage with Super Smash Bros. And sprinkled in some classic Godzilla. I was blown away by the artwork at the menu screen, knowing that Passion Republic Games really cared for this. I jumped into the gym and got to practicing with one of Gigabash's unique monsters. The combat is easy to pick up, but there's depth if you want to get competitive. Timing grabs, dodging, and mastering your character's unique abilities can make the difference between victory and getting absolutely spanked. And turning into a towering titan or using your special moves is as satisfying as it gets. The campaign, while entertaining, is sure and more of a bonus than a reason to get the game, but the multiplayer is where the game truly shines. Whether you're couch gaming with friends or taking the battle online, the chaotic energy is infectious. What really makes the game stand out is its focus on mayhem. The environments are just as much a part of the action as your opponents. Throwing a building at someone or using terrain hazards to your advantage adds a layer of strategy to this chaos. And you can do this on so many stages. There's also so much map variety. You're not just fighting in generic arenas, you're battling on volcanoes, cityscapes, and even weird sci-fi worlds that don't quite feel right. Each map brings unique hazards, like lava flows or massive flash floods, adding extra spice to your fights. I mentioned earlier that this is a love letter to kaiju media. Well, look at this lineup. Passion Republic Games have absolutely nailed it when it comes to the roster. I know it's DLC and I don't usually speak on that, but Godzilla, Ultraman, King Ghidorah, Gigan, it's beautiful. That's not to discredit the original Titans either. I thought that Balzar and Rojak were from Power Rangers originally. The designs were that convincing and that good. It's not just about having these icons in the game. They've done them justice too. Do you remember when Godzilla gets fully horizontal and dropkicks Megalon? Passion Republic Games remembers. It's not all great though. As King Ghidorah, I was able to just drop kick enemies constantly without having to put in much effort, leading you to the conclusion that this game isn't exactly balanced. And while the local multiplayer is a blast, the chaos can be overwhelming. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's happening with 4 players on screen. Now, that's not too bad. When it comes to kaiju content, maybe this truly is a start. However, it's lacking one big missing piece. There's no reason to return to the game. While it is fun, the fun wears off, and there isn't enough depth to stick around. down. Steam players will agree with me, as Gigabash's peak was 305 players. It's something you might whip out and play with a group of friends to pass some time, and it's got that star power too, but it's missing that staying power. I will say though, this game was made by an independent studio in Malaysia, so for the size of the studio, they have pulled off a world-class performance, and hats off to them for that. It's a good, mindless, fun game, including some legendary icons, and these icons look really good. The visuals in Gigabash are clean, vibrant, and full of personality. Every original kaiju is uniquely designed, and the DLC characters look faithful. It's not a technical showcase, but it doesn't need to be. The art style does all the heavy lifting for them. The sound design is equally solid. Each kaiju has distinct roars, attacks sound impactful, and the soundtrack is a mix of epic and playful. It's exactly what you'd expect from a game about smashing everything in sight. The campaign is light on narrative, but that's not a bad thing. It's campy, self-aware, and leans into the ridiculousness of its premise. But even though you're just here to smash, pause, there's a bit of lore building going on that is surprisingly deep and very in line with kaiju storytelling. Not much else to say except to get to the final thoughts. So, is Gigabash the king of kaiju games? Is Joe from PlayThroughTime ever gonna recover his voice? Is it kaiju or kaiju? Well, focusing on the important question, is Gigabash the king of kaiju games? I wouldn't say so, but I wouldn't say that's what they were aiming for anyways. It's not a deep, story-driven experience, but it's not trying to be. It's a fun, chaotic brawler that shines brightest when played with friends. My greatest weakness. It may not have the staying power of some bigger titles, but for quick, explosive fun, Gigabash delivers. If you're a fan of kaiju movies, party games, or you just want a good laugh with friends, this one's worth smashing your way into. If you enjoyed this review and want to see more games that embrace pure chaos, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, and join me next week where we'll be returning to the world of Dragon Ball.